At 5:30 a.m. on February the 24th, 2022, Russia woke up to a historic announcement. President Vladimir Putin had launched what he called a special military operation. His televised address, broadcast around the entire world, marked the beginning of an event that would totally reshape global politics. Now it's 2025 and 3 years have passed since that moment. And while the special operation itself has continued, something quieter has happened here in Moscow itself. The city has changed. I'm not talking about economics or anything beneath the surface. That's not what this video is about. Today, I want to show you instead how Moscow looks different. This video isn't about Ukraine. This video isn't about the military or politics. And it's also not about how people feel or what they believe. It's about what you can see when you're here in the city. It's about the aesthetics of the Russian capital. I've lived in Moscow since 2017, and over the past 3 years, I've watched the physical landscape of this city slowly but noticeably shift. If you've only been following the headlines, some of what I'm about to tell you might actually surprise you. Other parts may be exactly what you'll expect. Either way, this is what Moscow looks like in 2025. So I'd just like to note that I'm going to focus specifically on Moscow in this video because that's the place I know best. Life, of course, is very different in smaller towns, rural villages in the Far East or closer to the Ukrainian border. This really is a video about Moscow. One of the most obvious changes in Moscow is the skyline. Construction here has continued more or less uninterrupted, and that means that Moscow's skyline has continued to grow, especially in the financial district. Skyscrapers are still rising, residential towers keep going up, new apartment complexes continue to replace old, dilapidated Soviet blocks across the city. And that's all part of the government's ongoing redevelopment program. Near Moscow City, which is the financial district, many of the older buildings have actually been bought up and demolished by the government themselves. And now in their place are new high-rises. For example, near Moscow City, the Capitol Towers, which is a trio of residential skyscrapers, was opened in 2023. The Grand Tower, which is nearby, was completed in 2024, and that's due to open this year. Underground growth also continues. In 2024 alone, 8 new metro stations opened, including 7 on a brand new line. Expansion is still going strong. On the surface, Moscow looks active, it looks ambitious. Beautification projects continue, so does landscaping, fresh pavements, it's all carrying on. Although, of course, at the same time, there are signs that this pace might not last forever. Mortgage rates in particular are very high, 21, 22, 23%, making it way more expensive for people to buy property. Some Russian analysts are predicting a slowdown, but you can't really judge that financial situation just by walking around and having a look around, and that's what this video is about. One thing you can clearly notice are posters, in particular military recruitment ads. They have become a fixture of the streetscape. They first appeared in 2022 and really took off in early 2023. And since then, they have been everywhere, at bus stops, in supermarket entrances, in shop windows. and stretched across overhead billboards across motorways. Some invite people to sign a contract with the military, others honour individuals, others highlight particular themes like duty and courage and patriotism. Often on those posters you see a QR code which you can scan for more information. The visuals on these posters change now and then, but in general the message stays the same. Those posters are underground as well. I take the metro almost every day, and military recruitment ads appear both in print and digital formats. That means they're on the walls of carriages and on the newer metro trains with the screens, they appear on those as well. Also at some entrances to metro stations, you'll even see temporary desks set up for enlistment. This kind of imagery is now a part of regular daily life here in Moscow. And unlike in the US, where this sort of kind of military recruitment thing was long established, this wasn't visible at all in Moscow before 2022, and now it's just a part of the backdrop. Certain symbols have also begun to appear in the last 3 years, specifically the 3 letters Z, V and O. These Latin letters became markers of the Russian military campaign early on, and in Moscow they've shown up in a variety of ways. For example, one of the most prominent installations was outside the US Embassy here in Moscow. Giant metal letters ZVO, each with a slogan beneath. Z was for victory, V was for power, and power in truth actually, and O was for courageousness. This installation has actually been removed recently, but those symbols haven't gone away. There's also a mobile Z, which is like in a red kind of star sculpture, which continuously moves around the city. I've seen it nearby Red Square, I've seen it in Gorky Park, I saw it by Dostoyevskaya metro station and in other spots. It sort of rotates around the city, but it's always somewhere. You'll also see these letters on some government or police vehicles, especially the letter Z. Occasionally civilians also display the letter Z, usually as a car window sticker. It's not super common, it's not everywhere, but it is visible, you do see them. Other changes are more solemn. Memorials, murals, tributes to those who have died. Since 2022, a number of memorial sites have appeared throughout Moscow. The most central one is a 10-minute walk this way for me, near Kitai Gorod. It was originally dedicated to Vladlen Tatarsky, who was killed in 2023, but over time it's grown into a broader tribute, mostly to soldiers, but not exclusively. There's also journalists too. In the Moscow region, murals have been painted on buildings in towns like Balashivka and Narofamynsk, and those murals are often backed by local authorities, and they tend to show people who have died in Ukraine who come from a certain region. There are also exhibitions of captured military equipment around the city. The most prominent was at Victory Park, where British and American tanks, along with other vehicles taken from the battlefield, were displayed. That exhibition moved from Victory Park here in the actual city of Moscow to Patriot Park, which is about an hour outside the city. At the same time, military and security equipment has become more visible in public. I mean, that's actually being used, not captured stuff. And of course, I won't be showing those locations. Filming or publishing active military equipment is against Russian law. But their presence here in the city is a part of the quiet shift in the atmosphere. Even place names here in Moscow have changed in the last 3 years. For example, the square outside the US Embassy is now officially called the Donetsk People's Republic Square. It's the same outside the British Embassy. The square has been renamed to the Lugansk People's Republic Square. And these, of course, aren't just symbolic because they're printed everywhere. They're on street signs. You see them on navigation apps. They're on physical maps. They've become a part of how the special operation has been mapped, sort of, I guess you could say, permanently onto the city. Other cities around Russia have renamed streets in honor of people killed in Ukraine. As far as I know, that hasn't happened in Moscow. There aren't any streets that have been renamed after people. There is one renaming that's interesting though. I want to talk about Europe Square. Europe Square is just outside of Kiev train station. It's now called Eurasia Square. It's a small change, but it's a deliberate one. It shows the way Moscow's politics has turned from west to east. Interestingly, place names linked to Ukraine haven't been touched at all. For example, Ukraine Boulevard and Taras Shevchenko Embankment are still called that, and I personally don't expect that those will change anytime soon. So 3 years is a very long time, and it's long enough for this city to change how it looks, long enough for new buildings to rise, long enough for posters to fade and be replaced, long enough for symbols that once stood out as new and novel to start blending into the background of the city. If you arrived in Moscow today without knowing what came before, you might not notice anything that unusual. You might not know that anything has changed. But for those who have lived here since before 2022, the difference in how the city looks today compared to how it looked before has changed in the skyline, in the signs, in the quiet language of the public space. Because Moscow hasn't been turned upside down at all. It's still thriving. It still looks very much the same, but it's not exactly the same. Some changes are big, new towers, new memorials. Others are more subtle, recruitment posters, murals, renamed squares you might walk through without a second thought, because this city hasn't stood still. If you've been here a while, you can definitely feel the difference. If you liked this video, you might enjoy this one, where I talk about the reasons I moved from the UK to Russia 8 years ago. And if you really, really, really liked this video, please sign up on YouTube as a paid member of my channel, or send me a one-time donation on Buy Me a Coffee. The link is in the description below the video. If you're Russian, you can subscribe on Boosty instead. Thanks.